From the bed to a booth, for the old to the youth, it's Artist Block and it's season 2. Student Trustee Inaugurations, it's all happening. My name is Imaad and this is episode 24 of Artist Block. Allow me to introduce our awesome co-host for today. Starting off with a returning guest on the podcast, definitely gotta hit a clap for that. The Herald and Breathwaite student and executive on the RAA team, and after coming up here and campaigning, the student trustee for Peel North, Amanpreet Chonkrian. Say hello.
Hey guys.
And also, first time around the podcast, a Clarkson Secondary School student, avid member of the PSPC, and the student trustee for Peel South, Laura Oris-Nedanova. Say hello.
Hey everyone.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Before we begin, if you want to request a topic or if you want to come up here, be sure to follow us on all our social medias. We're artistblockpod on everything. Or you can shoot us an email, artistblockpod@gmail.com is going to be the way to go. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Soundcloud, Google Play Music, and iTunes so you get these episodes as soon as they come out. So, just some little icebreaker type stuff. How has your summer been going?
It's been going really well, really enjoyable, and we've been relaxing a lot too.
You?
It's been great. Lots of traveling. Just got back from a conference last week.
Where'd you go?
So, the conference last week, it was in Huron, so a Huron at Western, and that was just a leadership conference. And then I just got back from Shad, so I was at UBC.
Oh yeah, you were on Shad? Nice.
Yeah,
How was UBC?
So beautiful. The mountains are just so anywhere you go in the city, you see mountains.
See, somehow I've been talking to a bunch of people who just finished Shad, and then each of them has a completely different review.
Yeah.
And then everybody at
Really?
UBC is just it's been amazing. I loved every single part of it.
Basically. I loved every single part of it. Yep.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm just excited for grade 12 at all.
Yeah, we are really excited. Looking forward for the new school year and everything that's going to come with it.
Was that your PC answer or your real answer?
It's a real answer. I'm actually really excited. A lot
Awesome.
of people, they're not really excited for school, but
Yeah.
I know I'm really excited.
That's good.
I'm kind of scared, to be honest.
That was the answer that most people give.
I just this is it just hit me because I was talking to a couple friends a couple days ago, and I was until we get accepted into universities, this is the year, and this is all we're going to talk about for the next couple months, just universities. So yeah, I'm excited for a bunch of new opportunities and my turn to start, but I'm also super scared. But it's okay, we'll get through it.
You'll get through it. You guys are set for this. Anyway, have you guys begun to think about what you'd like to do after school ends? High school ends.
Do you want to go for this one?
You can start.
Okay, I just came to terms with the fact that I love business and everything
Nice.
to do with it.
Freaking
So-
represent, bro. Business is
Yes.
sick. I can't hit the clap. Really
Okay, so I was thinking an undergrad in business and maybe a minor in poli-sci because that's also something I'm super interested in. And I'm not really
Evidently.
sure. Yeah, evidently. I'm not really sure where I want to go as of right now, but
well, you got time.
yeah, I have time for that.
Remember?
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to post-secondary in the justice field. And like Laura said, poli-sci is definitely an option that's out there. But yeah, with that being said, we're still exploring everything that we have for the remaining year, and then we'll see where it goes after that.
Cool. All right, so some of these will repeat from when I interviewed all the four of the candidates. But looking back, name your favorite and least favorite part about the campaigning process.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it would definitely be the whole filming part of the campaign, filming the video.
That would be your favorite part?
My most favorite part
Nice.
had to be filming.
Shout out to Hamrush.
But yeah, no, definitely, it was so much fun to film the video. I remember waking up at 5 in the morning,
Oh my
right,
gosh.
just to start the filming, and it was just a week filled with so many new experiences, and it's probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. Definitely, that goes for the best experience in terms of my whole entire campaign. And if you want to look at the least favorite, it would most probably be every single week sort of thinking about, okay, what are we going to do next, right? And there was a lot of sort of tension, a lot of anxiety that kind of came with it, but definitely one way I kind of looked over it was what can we do that's different, that's really different. So sort of starting off that brainstorming, kind of figuring out what to do for that week or where to go from there. That was kind of nerve-wracking, but it was definitely still a learning experience.
That's good.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm going to start off with my least favorite thing because it's pretty similar to Amanpreet's. There was a lot of stress that came with trying to reach all of the 16 schools in Peel South because I didn't know everyone from... I didn't know someone from every school. So I just wanted to make sure that I could reach as many people as possible. And there were also a bunch of late nights when I was just staying up late and I was stressed. But one of my favorite parts about the campaign was being able to talk to so many people, because when I actually wanted to build up my campaign points and what I stood for, I asked a whole bunch of people what they wanted to see from a student trustee or what they thought we should change about our education system. And I just honestly, talking to that many people and just meeting so many people and getting so many different opinions was just something really cool that I really value.
I think that's one thing that every youth that even does something similar to campaigning for student trustee or talking to a lot of people, I think the main thing that we all, I mean, although it is difficult, but it's still a lot of fun, is just the amount of people that you end up getting to meet. And the amount of different faces and personalities that you just know. Like, you can look back and be like, damn, I know a lot of people.
Yeah, and it definitely was. It was obviously really great, like, the end result. But I feel like the most enjoyable part was, like, the entire journey that we had, like, throughout the whole entire campaign.
Journey's better than the destination?
For sure. It's definitely all about that. And something that, like, I really believe in, and I'm sure Laura can second me on that, is, like, it's not about, like, what happens in the end. It's about who you are and who you became in the process of it.
For sure.
So definitely throughout the whole entire campaign process, we were meeting new people. We're talking about all these different issues that we have in the education system. And it was just really, it was, like, an eye-opening experience to see, like, this is what a lot of kids are sort of concerned about, or like this is like these are the things that we need to change in the school system. And a lot of the times it's like we don't even know that these things existed until the kids like start to speak out and say, like, this is what we need to have changed. And it really gave us that motivation, like, this is why we're running for what we're running, and we really want to sort of make an impact on the kids who really do need it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there were times when it got hard, but when you remember why you were running, like, if you remember your why, it all falls into place, and it's so much easier when you actually stay true to who you are.
All right, so, and still staying on the topic of the campaign process, what was the easiest part and the hardest?
For me, definitely the easiest part would have been reaching out.
Just bring it closer to you.
Sorry. It would have definitely been reaching out to, like, a lot of people that I knew from the different schools. It was really, for me, it was personally really easy to sort of get the networking going, get those connections going, sort of getting everyone to help, like, post and market everything that was going on. For me, I feel like that was really easy because I already had those connections sort of built. The hardest thing for me would have definitely been finding my platform to begin with. I know, like, a lot of times, like, I would sort of be confused, like, what are like my main sort of points that I want to put across. But something that I learned from that was that it was sort of easier to walk in without, like, a solid platform, because when you're walking into your term, you're not going to sort of come out with the same things you thought you would go into.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times there's, like, different sort of situations that would come up during the term that, okay, this is what I need to work on now. And I feel like it was definitely sort of difficult for me to figure out, like, okay, so this is what I sort of want to put into the education system, but if that's not necessarily something that would come out at the end of my term. So that was definitely something to think about.
That's definitely something that every politician has to face, or even anyone that's taking on such a large project. You have to realize that every part of it, anything could change. But yeah.
The easiest part, I would have to say, would be, again, like, talking to people. It was really easy to talk to people, say, at PSBC events or just, like, in everyday conversations. But the harder part was getting a variety of student input, because I was talking to a lot of people from my own school and from, like, neighboring schools that were really close to me. But I wanted to make sure that I could, like, reach every school, because not every school has, like, the same concerns. So, like, schools like TL, I didn't know that many people from there, so I had to make sure that I really wanted to. I found someone from there, and I was like, hey.
Oh, TL's in South?
It's in South, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, hey, can you find some people and ask them about some of the concerns, just so that I can try and broaden my campaign, if that makes any sense.
That's cool. Other than yourself, if you had to name drop some of the people that helped you the most in the process, who would it be?
Laura, do you want to start?
Yeah, so shout out to Eliza Kayum, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this.
Oh, she helped you out with your campaign?
She helped me a
Nice,
lot.
nice.
Liba Fatima, she talked to a lot of people. Gail Pope, if you're listening, love you so much. There are so many people, honestly. Ali Sheikh, if you're listening, he helped me film my video, and he also helped me take pictures for my promotional material.
Yeah.
He's always been such a real one. Honestly, like, if you're listening to this, thank you.
Anybody who's listening, you must play part
Anybody who's listening
at
to
some
this,
point.
thank you so much. There are so many people who helped support me. Like, I couldn't possibly name everyone, but
All your voters.
All my voters, thank you so much. You're all real ones. Love you. Gonna do a good job next year, hopefully. Amanpreet.
Yeah, for sure. For me, if it would definitely be first and foremost, like the inspiration I always carry with me, it's Kushpal Pawar. It's honestly because of him that I decided to run to begin with. Other than Kushpal, it would definitely be Hamraj Rai, Amrit Singh, Solomon Ali. They're all definitely a lot of really creative people who came together to sort of help me with the creative aspect of my campaign. Then there was Harneet, there was Jasleen, there's Malav, and there's like a lot of different people who are part of my team that helped me sort of bring together like the creative parts and all sort of the posts and all the other different types of sort of like the writing forms. Like for example, like if I was putting out like a media post, right, and I would sort of need those people to help me like put together like my captions and everything that comes with it, and like my websites, the videos, everything like that came with it. It was all really like down to my team. So a lot of people think that, no, it was just sort of me that put it together. No, there's like so many creative, talented people who came together and helped me sort of come where I am right now. And it's definitely like without them, I would not be anywhere close to where I am right now.
That might just be my new favorite question on any podcast guest. Just like, who's helped you so far?
I forgot to mention this, but Cynthia, if you're listening, basically at some point during the campaign, I remember we were sitting in our car and I just like spilled all of my feelings about running for student trustee for like 10 minutes, and she listened to me ramble about it, and by the end she was like, wow, I can tell this is something like you're super passionate about. Yeah. And she was like, I really hope you win. And I was like,
no, now both of you guys are gonna get people who be like, why didn't you mention my name?
I know, I feel so bad because I know there are so many people I'm forgetting right now, but like trust me, you're in here. I'm thinking about you. I'm so thankful. Thank you.
Staying on the topic of people who have helped you, did teachers at your school or maybe at other schools play a role in your campaign at all?
Well, personally, I found more of a support base within my team, within my friends. Not so much my teachers or my admin, but definitely my team really did replace any of the support that I would have needed from those like sort of outer people like in my school, so like my teachers and my admin. But yeah, so my team definitely did sort of bring in all the support that I needed, and although I didn't get as much as I sort of wanted to from my teachers, I definitely did get all of that and more from my team.
Cool. And yeah, go ahead.
I got a lot of moral support from my teachers. Miss Gonzalez Fidel, she's a real one. Like I remember talking to her on the first day, and she like helped me through a lot of what I was going through. I didn't seek for that much help from my teachers. Like if I passed them in the hallway, they'd be like, oh, like I hear you're running for this, like good luck, I hope you win.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that much support from them, but I don't mind. Like
so the follow-up question, and you kind of answered it, is should they?
I feel like it's kind of a teacher's job to remain neutral. Like it's nice to offer support, especially if there's one student running from your school, but if they're not voting, I mean, like it's nice to offer support, but I feel like if teachers are adults, they should be like nonpartisan.
Cool.
Yeah, I would definitely, personally, I would think that teachers, especially if they're from your school, obviously they wouldn't like give out a biased opinion to the students in terms of voting, but they should definitely sort of reach out to you and sort of like let you know that this is an amazing thing that you're doing, that right, like you're from our school, we're both at the same school right now, right? And it's definitely important to sort of put that out there that like we're here for you if you need anything, if you need any help. Especially mental health is really important during this entire campaign. And it's like if you ever need like a helping hand or just someone to talk to overall, like we're definitely there for you. Especially if that teacher is from your school, the teacher should definitely like have that sort of like step of pride that, you know, one of my students are running, and that's sort of something that I'm sort of proud of. So it's definitely important to just sort of reach out to the student and just let them know that what they're doing is an amazing thing, and sort of like reach out to them and tell them that like you're there for them. Yeah,
for sure. Now moving on to the fun part about, or what I'd like to think is what probably the best part about the entire campaign process, and that's take the listeners through your reaction when you first learned that you won the election. And for any listeners who don't know, could you guys clarify how you actually learned that you won?
You can start.
Really? Okay. So I had this date marked in my calendar, April 23rd.
Oh man, that's so sick.
Like around like 3 p.m. because I remember I was on the bus, and this is like, I think at this point I still didn't have like a smartphone. I still had like a really old BlackBerry.
Nice.
So my phone was on low battery. I remember I got this phone call because I was like, I remember I was thinking, I was like, I should be finding out results like really soon, because if tomorrow.
Oh, so they actually call you like on a physical phone. That's epic.
That's what I thought. Because the next day would have been the actual board meeting where they would have announced the student trustee. So I was like, we should probably be getting a phone call soon. So I got a phone call a couple minutes later from a number I didn't know, and so I picked up, and Miss Wilson, she was like, hi, are you in a public setting right now? And I was like, yeah, I'm on a bus right now. She said, what time will you be home approximately? And I was like, 10 minutes maybe. And she was like, all right, give me a phone call. My extension is blah, blah, blah. And give me a phone call when you're home. And the next 10 minutes were probably like the worst 10 minutes of my life. I was just sitting on the bus and I was like, okay, I could have won or I could have lost. Like, it's either or. Like, there's no in between.
And for the listeners who don't know, Stacey Wilson is the coordinator for the entire student trustee election process.
Yes, she's a sweetheart. I got home. I called. I was so nervous. And she goes, hi. So, like, this is about student trustee elections, as you've probably already guessed. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then she goes, don't worry. It's good news. And like, I was like, oh my god, like, it's good news.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'm super happy to announce that you are the Peel Student Trustee South for next year. And I'm pretty sure I was like, please give me a moment. And I put down the receiver and I actually teared up. And then for like maybe like 10 seconds, and then I picked the phone up and I was like, hi, thank you, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. She took me through a couple of logistics, and I hung up the phone and I like yelled a lot. I was just so happy. And then I texted my parents. I texted our family group chat, and then I texted. Oh, she said I couldn't tell anyone. Yeah. Just for what's the word? Confidentiality, exactly. And then I texted my group chat because she said you could text your like parents, but you couldn't tell like anyone else.
Yeah.
So I texted my friend group chat, like these people that had been like supporting me throughout the campaign, and
they're basically family.
Basically, I sent a smiley face and nothing else.
Oh man.
Just a smiley face, and like everyone left me on red, of course, because okay, it's a smiley face or whatever, because they didn't know. But then the next day, when results got announced at the board meeting, and then it got tweeted out, like the whole group chat was just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it!"
Yeah.
That's my story. Yeah, it's just really cute.
That's sick.
Okay.
Man. Yeah, I feel like that's probably the best way to be like notified of the fact that you won something, is because you're in the privacy of your own home. You can just do whatever. You just go insane.
I'm pretty sure that's the reason why she was like, "Hey, just like make sure, so that you don't start screaming on a public bus." But yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Amanpreet, your story?
Yeah, for me, I was in the principal's office.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was in the principal's office.
What were you doing there?
We're just, you know, like, we had like a little bit of work that we had to kind of get done, especially because the campaign was ending. We were kind of like figuring some like final stuff out with the principal.
Yeah.
And then I got a call, and like I went down there because I was called down, right?
Oh.
And at first I was thinking, I'm like
she got paged.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, and I kind of went in there. I was really, really scared because I'm like, what did I do? Like, why am I here? And then I went in, and then I had to like get something sorted out with the principal. I was like, okay, so everything's like okay, right? But then like you kind of tell like in the air like something was still there. Like this wasn't it. Like I'm not about to get up and leave, because the way like, and he the principal, he's like, close the door behind you. I'm like, okay, like what's going on? Am I in trouble? Am I in trouble and everything? And then we got our things like sorted out, and then he's like, oh, and there's a phone call for you. I'm like, my mom's about to call me. She's about to yell at me. I'm in trouble. And he goes, oh, it's Stacey Wilson. And I'm like,
oh my god.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
Eyes just lit up.
And I'm like, no, but I was still thinking like, Laura, like either I won or either I lost.
Yeah.
Maybe, they feel so bad for me that they're calling me just to like tell me over the phone that I lost. So it was, I picked up and I was like, hello. And then, she was just talking to me. She was kind of like asking like, how are you? Like, what's up? Yeah, small talk. And then she goes, I remember she asked me a question. I don't remember what the question was, but she asked me something and I gave her an answer. She's like, oh, well, okay, I just wanted to know because, like you won the election. Oh. And I'm like, wait, what? And I asked her to repeat it. It's like, you won the election. I was like, okay, miss, can you give me a minute? And I put the receiver down and I cried and I cried and I cried.
Me too.
Like, I didn't just tear up. Like, I cried and I cried and I cried, and my principal was kind of just awkwardly sitting there,
just like, what's happening?
And he was kind of like, you want a tissue? Like I felt so bad for him. That's why I kind of cried even more, because I'm like, I feel so bad for him. And then I was just crying for like a solid like 2-3 minutes, right? And I was just there, and I'm like, okay, stop, what are you doing, right? Like,
was this like in the middle of the school day or like near
this
the
was
end?
like around the end of the school day.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And
Did
that's
you
why
still have to like go back to class?
no, I brought my stuff with me.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, so then I cried and I cried and cried. I'm like, okay, and then I kind of calmed down, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, hello, and it was like in the worst voice ever, and I'm like, oh, like, thank you so much, and I was like thanking her and stuff, and then she was like, yeah, like, you know, no worries, like, this is when the board meeting's gonna be, and she was just sort of explaining it all to me, and then I sort of like calmed down, and then that's when I left the office. But before I left, the principal told me, he's like, you see how you're smiling really big right now? He's like, yeah, you can't have that. You're gonna have to like calm down type of thing. Because I remember I had like a big smile on my face and I was kind of like tearing up. I looked really hysterical. So he's like, okay, calm down. So I kind of calmed down. You know, like I wiped my face, I put my bag on, and I left. And then the minute I left the office and I saw my best friend, I had the biggest smile on my face. And then he looked at me and he's like, you won, right? And I was like, and then so then I did that, but then I didn't tell anyone else. Like, I know like a lot of people were like kind of asking like, did you find out, did you not find out? And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm not sure, but in my head I'm like, yeah, you don't know.
See, like even me, like after it happened, I kind of, because I wanted to get into contact with you guys after you won, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait, because I'm expecting that they'll eventually post it.
For sure.
Because like I didn't know how it was gonna be announced or whatnot. But another funnier story was, so Fadil, who ran against you, Amanpreet, in the election, he was sitting next to me in science class around the time that the phone call was supposed to come, at like 3 p.m. or whatever. And so in our school we have this thing called no service anywhere. Like you just can't, because our school is built like a prison, and it works like a prison too, because there's no, like, our Wi-Fi never really works and you can't get signal. So he's just like, I have to get outside. And I'm like, all right, dude, just go. And then he literally just gets up and goes, can I go to the bathroom? And you could just see him out of the window, standing outside, just like looking at his phone going, is it going to ring?
Oh my god.
And it's like, yeah, but that's the thing. And anytime you ever try, this is why my mom always gets mad at me, because she's like, oh my god, you never call when you're in school. I'm like, I can't. Because it's just deadlock. But anyway, you heard it here first, folks. Their original reactions. It's exclusive content.
Exclusive content.
All right, so right after you heard it, I know you had to keep it confidential for a bit, but once you were allowed to kind of tell anyone, did you thank anyone right away? And did you have any form of celebration?
My parents wanted to go out for a dinner, but I remember being really tired on that Monday night, and I remember having like a project due the next day.
Oh, you guys got it on a Monday night?
It was a Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a terrible way to give them.
Can't
even celebrate. You gotta wait till the end of the week.
Much better. It made the Monday like a really good.
Oh, okay,
Monday.
yeah.
But I remember I had like.
That probably
something
made your
due the
entire
next
week
day.
so much better.
Yeah, honestly. Something was at the end of that week too. Oh, I think it was Pele. So Pele was at the end of the week, so we would have had time to celebrate anyway.
That's a packed week.
It was a packed week, in fact. Oh, it was cancer drive too for our school. So like our school does the annual cancer drive. I remember it being like super busy. We were going to go out, and then I was like, I'm so tired. Like I just like I need a nap, and I have a lot of homework to do. So we didn't actually end up going out. And what was the second part of the question?
Did you any form of celebration right away?
So one of my friends, like, she actually found out because I didn't say anything. She was like, you would know by now, like, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, I can't, so I just told her anyway, because she was just prying, and she just got so happy for me, and, like, we hugged, and I remember it being a half day, because there was something going on, and, like, we were in a classroom, but we were by ourselves, because it was empty for some reason, and we hugged, and, like, I teared up again, because it just got super emotional. But yeah, I thanked her, and then as soon as like the results came out, and like a whole bunch of people started messaging me, and they were like, hey, congrats, and I just, like, that group chat that I messaged at first, like, you guys know who you are, you're the real ones.
Yeah, for sure. Amanpreet?
Yeah, for me it was definitely for the people who helped me, like, during the campaign, so like Kushpal and Amrit and Hamraj and everyone else who came with it. They were like the first people, because when I went home, that was like a little bit later, so I saw them before that, and that's when I told all of them, right? And then I was like, and I told them, and they were all like really, really happy, and that's when I got, like Laura said, like I got like really emotional again. It was really
It's like that second realization of what just happened.
For sure.
Like,
It was really, like, it was like everything was still like processing. I still had to go home and tell my parents, and then when I did tell my parents, like my mom, like she was so happy, and then my dad, he came home afterwards and he was so happy as well, right? So it was definitely, for me, like at that time, I remember it was just like my priority. I'm like, I need to tell these people before anyone, and these are like the only like people who really matter to me right now.
Yeah.
And they were like sort of the people that like kind of like, just by telling them, for me it was like a mini celebration of my own, because it's like these people are so like important to me, they're so special to me, and the like right now like just giving them this piece of information is just something that's like really causing like such a positive sort of effect. And then like you said, like post didn't happen right away. I was really, really tired that day. It was like really exhausting. It was such an exhausting day, especially after the board meeting as well. That's why like I know.
Did the board meeting happen like the same day?
The board meeting was on Tuesday. I remember I was like, hey, do you want to post at the same time?
Yeah. And then
so
then I wanted to post that day as well, like during the board meeting, but it got like really, really late. And board meetings are really super late. So then I ended up doing it the next day, and that's when I sort of had like a level mind, and I was like, okay, thank you to these people, and I sort of like got everything in order the next day.
Oh, I had to leave the board meeting early. I remember because I had like a dance class because the dance class was late. It was like at 8
How
or
long
9.
was the board meeting?
It went until like...
It lasted until I think 9:30, but that was early. Like they normally last maybe
until like 11.
Yeah.
So
no way.
We're
on like that day specifically, was it just all about you guys, or was it like all the other regular stuff as well?
Well, there's like different parts of the board meeting. We had like a specific section because there's different points like minutes. So we just had our specific sort of section, but with that being said, it still was a board meeting, so they still like acknowledged everything else they had to do. So definitely we did have a big part of it, but we weren't.
Board meetings are open to the public, right?
It is.
Yeah, so that one in specific was like open, like it was a public one.
Yeah.
They had like a whole bunch of sections and stuff. I forget what they're called.
They're
like points or like. It was an agenda.
See, I should remember this because I usually like I'll like listen to the boardroom meeting audio. By the way, message to Peel, and you guys can maybe like help this out. Yo, can they create a video of that meeting? Like
they record it.
I know they record, but it's only audio.
Oh, really?
So I'm like, come on, man, like just one camera. You guys can't get one camera.
Okay, we'll definitely take that into account.
Thank you very much.
But we had like a section, so it was like appointment of new student trustees.
Did you guys like bring people with you and stuff?
My mom.
Nice.
And you brought your mom.
Yeah, I brought my mom.
We brought our moms.
Oh, and I brought Hamraj and Harneet as well. And I didn't want to bring like too many people. I was like, okay, I'll bring my mom and like 2 people who really, really did help. Of course. And then Kushpal was already there, so it worked out.
He was already on stand.
Yeah.
Now let's say a student trustee candidate for next year is listening to this podcast right now. What are some pieces of advice you'd give to them?
Ooh.
You wanna go? I mean, for anyone that wants to run next year, definitely start early, right? Start earlier on. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure that this is something you want to do. And definitely like educate yourself. That's a really, really important thing that like I learned even during my campaign, is like it's really important that like you know what's actually going on, what's concerning students, and how do little things work, like how do things work at the board, and how do like policies work, and a lot of different things like that you should sort of learn beforehand, especially when you start like running in the campaign. Like you should know these small things, because those are definitely little things that can like set you aside from the rest, that you sort of know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing. And that's like, other than like the whole like be prepared and this and that, like it's definitely important to like educate yourself before you actually step into what you're doing, because you never know, maybe it's something you don't even want to do. Right? Maybe it's something that you're not even sure about, or maybe by educating yourself you didn't want to do it like earlier on, maybe you're like kind of maybe, but then once you sort of learn like this is what's going on, you're like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to help these students. I want to sort of make an impact, and it's really up to you about like if this is something that you're genuinely doing to help people, or if you're just sort of just doing it to sort of go along with it.
I definitely agree with that.
That was well said.
Yeah. My God.
Thank you.
That's my student trustee. I would say run for the right reason. So like instead of running because you want to win, run because you want to be a student trustee and address issues that students have concerning our board. Just remember to like stay true to yourself and to your campaign. Like when times get tough, like remember your 3 core points and remember why you're running. That's a huge thing with me. Like remember your why. Like remember, like it's really important. Again, like start early. I figured out like I wanted to run like back in December. Like I remember being like, ooh, like this is something I really want to do. Run for yourself. Don't run because you want to win and you think it'll look good on a resume or something. Run for the right reasons. Because like real recognizes real. Like people will know if you're running with like an authentic version of yourself, not just because you want to win just for the clout or whatever. Like
For the clout, the student trustee clout.
Yeah.
I'll add on something because I think you guys both can agree with this, but find people that'll help you because you can't do it alone.
Definitely. Support system, like some people like call it a village, like a village of people that'll like be there to help you or in times of trouble. Just find your people. That's super helpful.
So what are you two most excited about coming into this new year as student trustees?
I'll just say like student well-being is such a huge part of like my campaign and my belief of what I want to like do as a student trustee. Like
your platform.
There's just so much I want to do. Like we got to go through orientation and figure out exactly how I can pass a policy, but as much as I feel like there are so many other problems in our education system, I feel like that is probably one of our biggest right now. So I definitely want to focus on that.
Yeah, and for sure, like that's like student well-being is definitely such an important thing. And with that being said, another really important thing that we sort of need to improve on right off the bat would definitely be bringing every single school together. Like you talk about your own school, you kind of like described it as a prison. I know a lot of people who go to my school, they're like, they don't feel like there's enough school spirit. So I feel like something that's definitely really important, like Laura said already, find your people, and the people you go to school with should definitely be a part of those people. And if you can't come together with the people you're learning with, the people that you're growing with, there's definitely a problem in schools. So I feel like it's really, really important, along with that student well-being, is to definitely make that school an environment where it's somewhere you can learn and grow in comfortably, and you can actually like be excited to be like, okay, I'm gonna go to school, we're gonna do this tomorrow, we're gonna learn this, we're gonna do that. And it's not even just about like in the classroom, it's like overall, like there's all those extracurricular opportunities, there's a lot of different things that you do in school. Like I know personally, I didn't really find like my personality through learning in the class, but I definitely found a lot of what I do through like the teams that I joined and all the clubs.
I think many people who join clubs and stuff can attest to that as well.
And I think that's really important to like sort of have that established in every single school. And I know for us, like we're a little bit more fortunate. Like I know at your school you guys do have that. I know at HB we do have those teams, we do have those clubs, but it's definitely something that we need to establish everywhere and have kids get the same sort of experience that we did.
I think the motto or the statement that not all schools are created equal shouldn't really exist, because I mean, although they may not be created equal, they should have the equality, because at the end of the day, we're like, you can't, sometimes it's not really your choice, like you're just in the area and that's where you go. But
all schools should have equal opportunities. That's a big one.
Stole that right off of you guys campaign. As always, this is a question that I like to ask, and you've already answered on the podcast, but you can answer it again. And also you stole it at the youth town hall.
Oh my God.
If you meet a student who's passionate about something, who has an idea but isn't sure how to pursue it, what advice would you give to them?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for...
So context to this, Rise Above Adversity, it's... I'm going to try to get this right, but Rise Above Adversity is a youth organization trying to help with youth involvement in the community. And so they had like a youth town hall with the mayor and stuff, and I didn't really ask any questions until like the very end, and then all I hear is Amanpreet in the back go, like, ask this exact same question. I'm like, wait a second, in the same tone. But yeah, you're welcome. You can have that question.
Okay, so I'm gonna build off of the answer I gave before too. The first thing that I would always tell to anyone who sort of has that idea but doesn't know where to go is to definitely start, because a lot of the times like we find that we have an idea, we have like something that we want to pursue, but we never really sort of go for it. We don't really like make a plan to actually start it and continue with it. But when you have like an idea, when you have something that you want to sort of take on, it's definitely important to just start, and from there you can kind of build your learning experience. You can learn from your mistakes, and you can definitely like go on that journey. And like I said before, whether you achieve it or not, it's really important to sort of learn that the person you became when you're trying to pursue what you had in mind, like, and everything that you sort of gained from that journey, that's what really matters in the end. And I feel like when you start to begin with, then you can definitely make your way to that end destination, and that's really important.
Yeah, for sure. Getting things started, I find that if you're trying to start an initiative or just like start a project or whatever, setting deadlines is super important, because if I don't have deadlines, nothing's going to get done.
Oh, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one yet. That's proper.
Especially like even with my like to-do list. Like if my everyday to-do list, if I don't have like a time I need to get a certain thing done by, it won't happen. So if you want to get something done, set a deadline. Something else is like that I've tried to internalize is better done than perfect, because a lot of the times people don't start projects or initiatives because they have a certain idea of how they want it to play out in their mind, like they want it to go perfectly, and that idea of perfection is what stops them from actually starting in the first place. So having it done is better than having it done perfectly, because perfection,
You should trademark
can't
that.
really
Better done than perfect.
It's not mine.
Oh,
like,
man.
to be honest, I took it from Shad, like our program director. She tried to put that in all of our heads when we were doing our projects, but I found it super compelling because, like, I find if you do know me in real life, I might not seem like it, but I actually am a perfectionist, and perfectionism and procrastination go hand in hand, because you have an idea of perfection in your brain that you can't really attain, and that's what stops you from starting a project. So better done than perfect. If you can get it done and you can make a positive contribution to our worlds, just do it. Just don't worry about perfection. Those are my words.
Perfect ending. That's going to wrap it up for this week. As always, Amanpreet, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Amanpreet with 2 T's and a C. Same thing goes for my Twitter.
Cool. Laura, where can they find you?
On Instagram, I'm at Laura with 2 A's at the end, ORIS, Laura Oris. That's my Twitter. What else do I use? I think that's it. I don't use social media that often.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Imaad.jm or on Twitter at ImaadJM. Once again, be sure to follow us on all the social medias. We're ArtistBlock, POD. Oh, you want to add? Plug your LinkedIn.
It's just my full name.
Fun fact about LinkedIn. Like, I was at this, like, Junior Economic Forum conference.
Ooh.
And then, like, the guest speaker was, like, talking about networking. And then he goes, anybody here who doesn't have LinkedIn? And I'm like one of 3 people that puts my hand up, and everybody's just looking at me.
You gotta have a LinkedIn.
And then he looks at me directly, and I didn't know if he was looking at me or like someone behind me. And then he goes, "Do you have any social medias?" And then I'm just staring blankly because I didn't think he was speaking to me. Everybody's looking at me and going, "Is this kid insane?" I'm like, "No, I have like regular ones." And he's like, "Well, you should get LinkedIn." And everybody looks at me like, "This kid's so de-evolved." Anyway.
You gotta get a LinkedIn.
But yeah. Be sure to follow us on all social medias. We're ArtistBlockPod on everything. If you want to request a topic or if you want to come up here, you can shoot us an email. artistblockpod@gmail.com is going to be the way to go. Once again, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, Google Play Music, iTunes, and SoundCloud so you get these episodes as soon as they come out. Also, for any viewers or listeners who are trying to figure this out, it's Sundays at 2 p.m. is the audio version, and Mondays at 8 p.m. is going to be the video that goes up on YouTube. That's going to wrap up episode 24. We'll see you guys next week.